there if we don't like. We are at 6:01, so we're coming. Diana!
Hey.
Hi, hi, Pam. What?
Since I'm going to be typing, if you wouldn't mind, I'll put my phone on you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Clickety, clickety, click.
Okay. Clickety, clickety. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can do two things at once.
Look at that margin.
But I want you here close by in case I go, here, you're taking it.
So, are we doing everything in person and then doing online? Or is everything randomized?
No, it should be in person and then online. Okay. Randomize these guys, randomize those guys.
Okay, and then are we going to ask people to submit into the chat then that they would like to make a comment?
Correct.
Online?
Correct. So you'll be checking the chat button.
Great. I have it open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Craig, how are you doing, dear? You need a... Okay, give me... Yeah, we're going to give it 2 more minutes, and that way... So I just want to make sure.
She's like...
They want to talk about people, and they don't want anyone to hear. On Saturday nights, I was such a sad college student. If I didn't have a date, my girlfriend and I would sit in the community center at school, you know, the whatever they call the student center, and we'd just sit there on a Saturday night sipping something and talking about all the people. Well, that's a stupid outfit, you know. So it's a good thing they didn't have things like, you know, cell phones. People would know. Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows.
Record the ridiculous outfits that you were wearing.
Yeah, exactly. I should know I'm perfect, so I can tell that her outfit is really stupid. So, all right. What we got? 6:03 and 6:03. Okay, we'll let Tina sign in, and then we're going to get going. And what you can do is, after a little while, pick up the piece of paper where they signed in person, and that way you'll have both of them to randomize.
Sounds perfect.
Perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everybody. Hi, everybody. It is 6:04 on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. And this is the Town of Bluff Planning Commission, and we're holding a public hearing for our sign ordinance updates. Please sign in to the list to let us know you've been here, and then sign on to the list if you'd like to speak tonight. If you're online and you would like to speak tonight, please put your name in the chat box. We have Brian in charge of randomizing all of you, so we'll get you all in. Let's call this meeting to order, and we will start with roll call. I'm Marcia Haydenfeld, Vice Chair. Amanda Podmore, our Chair, is excused this evening for a work schedule, and take it away.
Brian Whitney.
And we have typically our note taker, but I believe she's online this evening. And so we're just going to get into this and see how we do. And I'm excited to try to be the tech person for a minute. Yay! But I have my crew right here in case I can't. Before Amanda was called away to her real life job, she was able to put together for us a lovely little presentation, so you will hopefully understand kind of where we are in the process, and this should help us at least all be on the same page. So the process for this evening, if I hit, I have to go to the one, there we go, hit enter. Right here in front of you, just some words of wisdom for this evening. We're going to take your oral comments tonight from both here and online, and written comments will be accepted through February 11th, so you have 10 days. I just reminded you to please sign in both on the piece of paper or on chat to make a comment, and we'll find you. We're going to do the live person folks first and then go to virtual. And we're going to allow you 3 minutes. There's a possibility of a request for 2 more minutes. If you're saying something fascinating, we might let you do that. And then the main thing to know is we're not going to sort of answer you this evening. We're not going to get in a back and forth of, should signs be blue or red. We're just going to take all the comments, do our notes, and at our meeting, we'll discuss what we heard from you and any other comments that come in. The Planning and Zoning Commission, oh, that's right. If your comment has already been shared by others or secondary, we're going to ask you to say just that you agree with something rather than repeating the whole thing. And we ask for, how does Kelly Davis, she always puts it as kind meeting. Let's have a kind meeting and treat each other the way we'd like to be treated. Also, anonymous comments can't be accepted just because we're a small enough town that we want to be able to understand where these comments are coming to us, and it can be from anywhere, but we want to know that. Jared, you seem to have a question on procedure.
Yeah, I just wondered, is there an avenue during this meeting or another appropriate one to ask for clarification on any of the party ordinance?
Well, I do have a little presentation yet to go with a few things to clarify. If that doesn't help you and there's a specific question that you didn't understand, it's possible we could take a second to answer. We just don't want to do back and forth stuff. So let's see how we do, and maybe some of this will answer kind of where you were going. If not, you'll get to try asking a specific question. Okay, so here's where we stand in the process. We decided to update the sign ordinance because we were having so many issues with people who weren't sure what they were trying to do or what they had or what we were trying to tell them they should do. It was obvious that we weren't all on the same page. So the sign draft ordinance that we're looking at tonight is one that would actually replace the existing sign regulations, which right now are within our existing zoning code. We will likely do a separation of it into a separate ordinance. However, we're waiting for comment from legal interpretation of how you do that. But either way, this will be the new sign regulations. The current stay on enforcement ends this month. The town said, okay, we're going to wait. We're not going to enforce anything for a little bit till we get this all figured out. And the date on that is February something, was it the 5th or something like that? And whatever it is, I guess I can sort of say we're not quite there yet, so we will finish this process before we ask you to update your signs accordingly, if there's anything that's going to change. The purpose of the sign ordinance is to enhance the character of the community and protect scenic views, recognize signs are critical to the success of local businesses, regulate the time, place, and manner under which signs are permitted, not limit the expression of free speech, and encourage wayfinding. For those of you who had to think about it like I do, wayfinding means how do you get to the business that we're talking about? So these are just a couple of the hits of kind of some of the things we changed up, not necessarily changed, but enforced or recognized in our updates. Non-electric signs 12 square feet or less in residential and agricultural zones, you don't need a sign permit. If you're just going to put up a sign or a little real estate sign or whatever, you can do that. Indoor mounted electric signs or neon signs that are 4 square feet or less. Open, close, open, close. If that's in your window, we're not going to get you. Temporary event signs. We all know that we have some signs. We just took down the balloon sign the other day. So everybody gets to do, some of these things without worrying that they're, need a sign permit, sorry. Okay, these are the signs that are prohibited. We tried to clean up some of this, so you can glance over here. I'm hoping some of you looked this up online before you came, but signs that interfere with traffic and safety and traffic signals or which otherwise obstruct a driver's view, safety first. Signs that encroach upon or overhang any public right-of-way, safety second. Moving and/or waving signs included but not limited to balloons, waving banners, streamers, pinwheels, moving or rotating signs, promotional flags, moving figures or inflatable figures, except those erected temporarily for a special event, promotion, grand opening, or community activity for a period not to exceed 14 calendar days. This is just us trying to clear up some of the language that evidently was confusing to some of us. Prohibited signs continue with signs that blink or flash or have moving text. The school is a good example. We have no authorization to tell the school what they can do. They were kind enough to lower some of the lighting when they first started. That helped a little. Hopefully when we clean all this up, maybe we can ask them to lower it one more time. Portable signs affixed to a vehicle, trailer, or similar conveyance except as allowed for a temporary event. Signs that are broken, damaged, or unmaintained for more than 12 months, 1 year. Signs that are non-compliant with outdoor lighting. I know we're all trying to bring in outdoor lighting ordinances to compliance with both our lights and signs, so we're gonna watch for that. The newest thing we did was, Malia helped us quite nicely put together a chart, and the chart is nice to use because you can say, what's my zone? What type of sign was I gonna put up? How big can it be? How much can I have and how many of them, or how much can it fit? And how far can it be from the ground? So I won't go through the entire chart here, but this is something you'll wanna do just as you're looking into things and say, oh, I can have this size of a sign and I can have it where, this high, and I can have this many of it or this much. One of the things we've found ourselves doing is to lighten up on the amount of signage, because we ran into that definitely. We know that we face in this town odd lots and angles of signs where people should have more space to allow more signage. So we've tried to do that. So you'll want to look at these charts when you have time to do so. The comments, so enforcement. Enforcement is, one of the things that happens is we say to you, please take down the sign, or, so we're looking at what the or would be, or else, and it's withhold your building permit or CO, obtain an injunction, impose a civil penalty of $100 a week per violation, commence an action for damages, including damages for costs incurred in completing, repairing, or abating the violation, and any other remedies available at law. And basically what we're saying is, if we send a letter, we wanted some teeth in that letter, so that if we asked you to do something and it wasn't happening, this is what might happen. I believe, as I understand, we're still waiting for a little bit of the legal input into this to get that just right. But this is the idea of having something to do. So that is a general overview of where we stand. We are looking for comments tonight that will help us hone that direction. We received the letters that many of you sent. There was Bob letter, there was a Liza, Erin, Andy. So we've had some letters, they're all posted. We're very grateful because a lot of those had some good points that we used for discussion. So keep them coming. You have the next 10 days. If you say it here, great. If you want to add it to the written comment, great. And here's how you do it. Planning and zoning at townofbluff.org or PO 324. Okay, do we have any questions on just the general procedure here this evening? Are we all good? Okay. let's do, now I can take this off by going like that. Aha, look at that. Yay. Let's do some comments from the public from here in the audience. And to do that, we'll ask the randomizer, to tell us who's up. We'll ask you to come up and identify yourself, please, for the record, and let us know what we can do to make this work.
All right, the first randomly drawn name is Pamela. Thanks to random.org.
Hello, my name is Pamela Uris. I'm here today as a representative for the business owners of Bluff. I appreciate the time allotted to speak to you about a matter that's of great importance to us, and particularly to the business owners. We also appreciate the time the Planning and Zoning Commission put into this very important issue, and that you acknowledged the significance of signage and its relationship to the prosperity of local businesses. This is encouraging to the business owners and gives us hope that our voices are heard. With that said, we request more work to be done to improve the ordinance. We have suggestions that would lend clarity to the definitions and avoid potential misunderstandings down the road. For instance, please consider that a sign greater than 40 square foot may be more aesthetically pleasing than multiple signs conforming to the current limit. We also suggest an objective approach for calculations of square footage using research-based standards from the U.S. Sign Council Foundation. This nonprofit organization's calculations include considerations for speed limit, traffic lanes, distance from the curb, and more. Additionally, I want to express our disappointment with moving and waving signs categorized as prohibited signs, except for temporary use. Traditional signs are expensive and include costs for logo development, graphic design, production, and installation. For a new business, these costs can be prohibitive at a time when public awareness is the most essential. In contrast, acquiring a moving, waving sign is a more affordable option at just a few $100s. They're easy to install and serve as an effective way to communicate a business status. We also propose allowing this usage of moving, waving signs without time limits, and instead limit the number per business or per foot of highway frontage, with the caveat that they must be kept in well-maintained condition. We also have concerns about the non-conforming signs section of the proposed ordinance. As stated currently, it restricts only permanent non-conforming signs in existence when the ordinance is approved. We perceive this as a targeted measure to eliminate the use of moving, waving signs currently employed by 2 large hotels. This is unfair, as the investment in these signs was made because of restrictions in the existing ordinance and aided the ability of businesses to promote multiple services on the property. In essence, you're asking them to destroy a business asset, and we don't believe that's a good practice. We also ask that language be added to allow a business with an existing sign permit to change text and/or graphics without the need for additional permits. We also feel strongly that the off-premise signs section needs work. We propose that 2 signs should be allowed based on the dual entrances to town. We also performed a calculation for sign area usage guidance from the USCC, which clearly demonstrates that 20 square feet is inadequate for placement in an area where vehicles are traveling at 40 miles per hour. It takes a block, 500 feet, a block and a half, for travelers to see, comprehend, and take safe action. A written public comment will be provided within the next 10 days. This document will explain our reasoning behind these requests, as well as additional considerations for evaluation. Based on the current draft, we recommend significant changes prior to a vote from the council. We have presented very relevant points that directly impact business owners. If you have any questions about our written or verbal comments, please feel free to contact us. Thank you for your time.
Okay, the next randomly selected speaker is Jared. And thank you,
My name is Jared Barrett, own Wild Expeditions and Bluff Dwellings. Thank you very much for the opportunity to say something. The letter that has been prepared by Bob, I just wanted to support that and say amen to Pam's comments there. Definitely not as well prepared as that. I just wanted to, with my about a minute and a half here, just express appreciation for reconsidering some of these things. As a business owner, it's a business owner in Bluff is a very difficult challenge to be able to run a successful business. We've been at it for at least 7 years trying to run wild expeditions. And to try to get the traffic that we need to be able to maintain any kind of profit is really, really challenging. So if we're too restrictive on being able to advertise our services, and I'm not just saying for wild expeditions or Bluff dwellings, but just thinking about some of the new restaurants, coffee shop, people who have an interest in trying to do something in Bluff, I would just ask you to look at these requests, the comments that Bob made, in that light. Maybe not for this second, but for the future. I know people who are investing in other places instead of in San Juan County and in Bluff because they're like, why would I try to do that? Things are already stacked against me. So when we have too many things that are prohibitive and make it very, very difficult to succeed, people are going to look to do things elsewhere or move elsewhere to try things. So that's my comment. Thank you so much.
Okay. From
You could do it both
random.org,
hands.
Tina is the next randomly selected person.
The only reason I have notes is because I'm not going to be able to say timber frame unless I read it there. So very simply, my name is Tina Krutsky. I am on the board of Bluff City Historical Preservation Association and a member of the Bluff River Trail Committee. Your ordinance doesn't speak to kiosks, and we had 2 made last year by Morrow. They're timber frame kiosks. They're fairly large. I can't actually tell you what the dimensions are because I don't know at the moment. One's smaller than the other. But we plan to place those at our trailheads once those trailheads are established. And I'm wondering if they're defined as signs because they are intended to convey information and direct attention to a place and an activity, which is how you define signage, but I wanted to be sure you considered that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Number 4 is Diana.
Hi, my name is Diana Davidson. My husband and I used to have a business here along Highway 191 for a long time. Now I have a virtual business in Bluff. Should I have a wild urge to put in a pie shop on Highway 191, but I'm going to sit really still until that urge passes. Reading through your ordinance, I see so many good things. I see that you have made a number of necessary, which I think are very welcome changes. The current zoning ordinance with the sign regulations, I believe almost sets up a have and have not. If you were here before incorporation, you probably have adequate signage. If you've come in afterwards and have, to get into the confines of a certain number of square feet and 40 square foot per sign, you're in the have-not column. So I see a number of really good things, such as the removal of the total sign maximum, off-premise signs. Those are huge, and I thank you for that. I think those are very welcome. I believe that the key passage in this whole ordinance for me was in section C, which states non-conforming signs, permanent non-conforming signs in existence at the date of the initial approval of this ordinance are allowed. I think that is right there. You could just stop right there. First off, permanent is not in your definitions. I would advise you to put that there. The other question that we had is that on the initial approval of this ordinance, I'm assuming that it is this is where numbering things become really important. I'm assuming it is this ordinance that's under consideration now. Basically, as I read it, it appears that most of the signs in Bluff will be deemed as non-conforming, which means they will be okay. So it's almost like you've turned the Etch-a-Sketch over, you've done a reset. There were some businesses that I think were out of compliance, but it's almost, we're saying, okay, like most of these are fine. I think that is really very positive news, and I think that's very welcome news. However, there are, by my count, probably 2 or 3 signs that would not, depending on your definition of permanent, that would not be non-conforming. I urge you to come to some sort of a workable solution so that something can be worked out for those signs. I would urge you not to put anything in place that's going to require the destruction of a business asset. That sets up hard feelings, and it's just not a good practice, I don't think. I urge you to think about it from the perspective of a new business. Should I want to start a pie shop? Am I going to be able to have adequate signage? Would I be able to have, my time is up. All right. I would just say that thank you very much. I appreciate your new ordinance suggestions.
Sorry, I'm just holding
Sentence,
this up.
Well, I got the sign
know,
from
sorry,
Brian
no,
there,
yeah,
so
I'm just- you told me
I
to
got
hold
the sign
sign
from
until
Brian.
7:30.
Just
I
had
don't
2
like
more.
doing this.
Okay.
So
Makes me
again,
feel mean.
you just think about it from the perspective of a new business. The other thing is that I would just say the overwhelming driving thing on sign visibility is the speed limit on Highway 191. Pam addressed this. There are nonprofit. There is a nonprofit with university-based research that publishes standards, rules of thumbs calculation that would be like an objective measurement. And we'd be more than happy to send, that information to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. You had it go in there and you stopped right in the middle of the word. It's like,
Sorry. No, we should have one that says, and fifth is Aaron. I don't like this sign is not.
I'm not usually on this end of things, all right.
whatever. Just
Hello, my name is Erin Nelson, and I reside in and own a business in Bluff. I sincerely appreciate the Commission's willingness to consider previous comments regarding signage, including removing the maximum allowed allotment square footage and allowing off-premise signs. These are significant and very much appreciated changes. Tonight, I will present additional points that I believe warrant your consideration for a more comprehensive and equitable sign ordinance. In speaking tonight, I'm mostly referencing the commercial zones that are impacted as a business owner. Number 1, in Table E, I request that the A-frame sandwich-style boards increase square footage from 6 feet to 12 square feet. Our business purposely purchased a larger, taller chalkboard to increase visibility and mitigate against cars backing over the sign. 12 square feet would help us with this issue. Number 2, I request additional clarity in the ordinance regarding the permitting process. I'd like clarification regarding off-premise signs, whether the landowner or the business owner must apply for the permit. If a business has an existing sign, do they need a permit for a sign just to update graphics or text that fits the same space that a sign was already in? Number 3, I agree with Pamela. I'd like to see a small number of banners allowed per business property. These banners enable businesses to quickly and effectively notify tourists of their offerings. If these banners are maintained and kept in good condition, the only message these signs convey is that the business is open and ready for business. And in Bluff, in order to create a vibrant, lively town, we must promote that businesses are open and ready for business. Number 4, I know the town council recently adopted a master fee schedule, but this is the only ordinance in which includes fines, and it disproportionately impacts business owners. Does the commission intend to add fines to other existing ordinances? Who will be responsible for enforcement and collection? Number 5, I also agree with Pamela and Diana regarding the signed square footage maximum. That number seems arbitrary, and I would personally prefer a larger sign rather than numerous 40-foot signs. I'd like to see the commission use resources available for decision-making in the future. Using data behind these proposed ordinances would be helpful, much like what was presented for the dark sky ordinance, in which specific regulations were referenced. Finally, number 6, I'd like to see the inclusion of a section explicitly prohibiting political signs on public property. While I understand and respect the importance of free speech, I firmly believe that public spaces should remain neutral grounds which welcome all opinions and beliefs. I feel strongly that politically motivated signs are inappropriate and should not be allowed on public or town property. I appreciate the Commission's effort to create a sign ordinance that balances the needs of the businesses, residents, and the aesthetic integrity of our community. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else? That was the list from.
That was the list from here. So is there anyone? Go ahead, Jacob. I know you came in a little later. Yeah.
I just want to echo literally everything that was just said and pose the committee 2 questions that they need to be asking themselves. The first one is, why are we making these regulations in the first place? Every single thing that you do, law is made to protect me from you and you from me. Why are we doing this? When you go down the list, think about why this regulation is being made in the first place. It's not a club, it's not a hobby, we're not doing it because we're bored. There needs to be a reason behind every decision that's made. The second thing question I'd like to pose to you guys is, what do you see as the future of Bluff? And I keep bringing this up because the more I live here, the more I see regulations made that are prohibitive to small business. We've heard from Jared, who's got, I would only assume, a multi-million-dollar operation down the road from us, having a hard time making ends meet. Now, you can imagine the small businesses coming into town, younger individuals who are trying to start them, are going to have a really hard time making ends meet if you guys continue to regulate the way you are. Do we want Bluff to continue in this aging population, or would like young people want to stay here, set up businesses, and make Bluff continue to be what it's been for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years? That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay. Is there anyone else here in person who didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to say something? Are we done? Okay. Brian, would you go to the chat box and do the randomizer?
Yeah. Is there anyone else online that would like to make a comment? Because right now I have one and I don't feel like I need to randomize it. I'm not a mathematician, but.
Okay.
All right. So then, Sylvia Taylor, you have been randomized to go first.
Love it. I'm random and I'm first.
All right.
Ready? Sylvia Taylor. I am the Bears Ears Education Center manager, and I'm here in that capacity. I want to thank Planning and Zoning for doing an excellent job with this first draft and this public hearing. I'm really grateful. I think it's very much in a spirit of collaboration. I have also been attending as a member of Business Owners of Bluff, and we have discussed this sign situation at length. And rather than take up more of your time, because it's amazing how much you already give, I'll just say that I want to repeat and underline what has been voiced by Bob. And from personal experience managing the visitor center, we had almost 5,000 visitors last year, 6,000 in 2023. We had 5,000 in 22, 6,000 in 23. So I literally tell hundreds of people every year, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, where businesses are. And people struggle with how to find things, and what Bob has presented will ease their struggles. And also, I've learned a lot about the signage that the Beak requires, and it makes an incredible difference what kind of sign we have. The sign that I've developed this past year has doubled visitation to the Beak, and that has allowed us to convey our visit with respect guidelines to the public. And I would hate for our numbers to drop because of signage limitations. And so I feel Bob has done a great job of voicing what the Beak needs also. And again, I wanted to thank everybody, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Sylvia. Okay, anyone else online? Did anyone not find their chat button in time? Okay, I think we're good. I would like to comment, even though we're not going back and forth on this, my comment is, these were great comments. One of the things we struggle with is, when we talk back and forth amongst ourselves, we do the same thing. We go 40 square feet, 39, 42, whatever, you know. When we hear it from others to use as ideas, it moves the process. So I want to thank you, almost exactly like you were thanking us for being here, for bringing forward some ideas and good ideas. I would ask that for some of you who gave us some specifics, write them down and send them so we can use them during our discussion. The process, I believe, is that the sign ordinance draft will be discussed at our next meeting, so a public meeting, not a hearing, but a public meeting, so you can hear us discuss all this stuff. And if we can get quite a bit done, it may be time to pass it over to town council, where they do some editing as well. Then we work to vote to pass it, or they vote to pass it or not. If in fact we get stuck a little bit because you guys have given us too many good ideas, we'll probably do another work session if we needed to, because we've done a couple and those are really great because we just get to sit there going, no, yes, no. So we're getting there. So thank you all. Thank you online. Thank you for being present. I'm sorry I'm doing the mask. I sneezed today and I don't think you're allowed to sneeze in public, so I'm wearing a mask. I just really appreciate everybody's input. Is everybody okay at planning and zoning? Any other comments? Did someone, yes, Ann?
Martha, is it 5 o'clock on the day of written public comment to be submitted, or is it midnight?
You know, that's an excellent question, but I defer to the town manager to tell me. Is it at close of business?
You have to make that decision.
Okay. I did not know that we're making that decision. I would say close of business. Is everybody okay with that? Close of business on February 11th, please, 5 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, Ann. Sorry about that. So, if everybody is comfortable with where we are, I would say it's time.
Sign off. This is where you're going to
Sign off. The randomizer is now closed. The randomizer is now closed. Ed? Second, all in favor of adjourn? Aye. Aye. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Is it raining yet? Good night, everybody.
Yeah,